Starting, sustaining, and having a successful small business is hard, but you already knew that. But wouldn't it be great to have a podcast that talks to and digs in to the people who've made it? Problem solved. This is Local Vibes. Small business success stories. We'll talk to successful small business owners from around the country. You'll hear their incredible stories about how they got started and how they thrived and survived online and within their communities. We'll find out their special vibe. Welcome to our show, brought to you by localvibes.us.
Let's do this.
Now your hosts, Pat and Angie Cherubini.
Hi everyone, it's Pat and Angie Cherubini, and today on Local Vibes, we have a very special guest, someone that we've known for, I'm not sure, I actually didn't figure that out. How many years?
I would say at least 18.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Bree Murner from Just a Walk Home Kennel, and she's a Labradoodle breeder. And actually, are you still breeding the Frenchies as well?
We do a little bit of Frenchies and a couple litters of Rottweilers.
Okay.
So cool. So she is the provider of all our Labradoodles.
Yep.
For quite a while now.
Actually, our first one, Slappy, was from her mentor.
Yep.
Yes,
I didn't realize that.
And then I forget, she must have stopped. I think she stopped breeding. And then she told us about you. And I think, did we do a website for you first?
That's what it was.
And that's how I got to know you.
Correct. Chris was the breeder of Slappy, and Chris was my mentor. Before the internet really got super popular, or not even popular, but able to have a website, she had one made by you guys. And as
Remind me of the name of her kennel.
Briar Creek.
Briar.
Yes,
Gotcha.
I remember now.
Yep. And she had her website made, and I was just getting going because I was being mentored by her, and I had you guys do my website through her.
Ah.
Know each other. Yeah. And like what, 5 websites later? 4?
Seems like it. No,
Yeah.
you still have the same Labradoodle site.
Yes.
Isn't
We've
it?
done others, yeah.
Yeah.
We did the mystical Merles,
Oh, that's right.
and
Yep.
we did the French Bulldog one,
Yep.
and now the shirts.
Yeah.
Lots of years together.
Yeah.
Well, probably where we should begin is kind of tell people, how you, and I'll tell you what, when I read your paragraph that you wrote when you signed up for this, unfortunately, I had no idea that was the story behind it. So you need to tell everybody the story behind you getting involved with Labradoodles.
How the initial onset of the word Labradoodle. I always focus on that because so many years ago, the word was not even common, heard of. It wasn't even associated with a dog necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And I started because I had special needs kids, and that's where the thought of why the Labradoodle would work for us became into existence. But the basic story is a long time ago when my son was very young, he had taken a bad fall, and I had to take him into the emergency room because he needed an x-ray done. And it was kind of late at night. It's a country ER room, so I mean, not a lot of staff. And we had the x-ray done, and the radiology team was backed up. So with my son being so young and handicapped, he didn't want us sitting in the ER all night. So he asked me, did I want to look at the x-ray, figuring, I'd seen quite a few, and I had because of his surgeries. And I said, yeah, I'll take a look at it. It'll kind of give me some peace of mind. So he had brought it in, and we looked at it, and his rod looked fine in his back from the fall. And I said, everything looks fine. It makes me feel better. And so we walked out together, kind of leaving the room. And he looked at me and he's like, well, I really appreciate you looking at it because I couldn't read it. Your son was kind of like a Labradoodle. And I mean, this is before phones and internet. And I kind of looked at him. I didn't even think of the word because I had never heard it. And we walked out. My sister was with me, and we walked out, walked to the car, and I said to her, I said, did he say Labradoodle? And she's like, yeah, I don't know what it is. And I'm
It's a medical term.
no clue. And the funny thing was, I talked to my mom the next day, or maybe even that night, I can't remember, because we were quite worried about my son. I said to her, I said, he called my son, or called little Jesse a Labradoodle. And she's like, a what? And I'm like, a Labradoodle. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, he called your son a mutt. And I'm like, no. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, that's a mixed breed dog. And I'm like, that's odd. I don't have any understanding. So I don't remember, truthfully. The internet was so slow. It was dial up. I might have looked it up. I might have just asked around because that's what we did in the old days before the Google. You just asked around to see what other people knew. And I said to my husband at the time, I said, Labradoodle. And he's like, I think I watched on the History Channel. They had something, on it. And I said, and we found it on TV. It replayed. And it was a big series that the History Channel had done talking about people going crazy for these Labradoodles. But they were in Australia and they were being brought to the United States on planes for therapy dogs. And I'm like, that's exactly what I need. I said, this is awesome. This is a great animal. I said, I have to figure out how to get one. So I looked, and it was difficult. And the people, you had to fly out, you had to go through all these different things to get a Labradoodle to the United States, and nobody could afford it. The average person couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford it. And I was so distraught because, it really seemed like it was going to be the perfect thing for my family. Because at the time I had my first son with scoliosis. He was the one at the ER. And then my middle son was born with autism. So I thought, oh my gosh, we are the perfect fit for one of these dogs. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't afford it. It wasn't something within our capabilities. And I thought to myself, I was raised with animals all my life. I can do this. I can figure it out. And that's how I found Chris. We had a lab, and I met Chris, and she offered stud service for her poodle. We made our first litter. It wasn't exactly like the Australian, but it was still something in the works of what was coming and being done in America, which was the American Labradoodle at that time. So we had our first litter.
So you had no background in puppies at all?
No background in that. Gotcha. Just when I was raised, we had Australian Shepherds, which is another breed. We had horses, so definitely always animal-based in my raising. So, it wasn't foreign to me to start raising animals. That's something I had done all my life.
You think that's maybe why you had that connection, the Australian Shepherds that you had, that connected the Australian Labradoodles?
It did. That came in later because of the color. I didn't so much like the breed, but I love the color of the Australian the Australian Shepherd. So we wanted our Labradoodles to have that coloring, which was the Merle. So we brought that into not that breed, but we brought that genetic color into the lines and did the Labradoodle. So
fascinating. I never ever knew.
And now Labradoodles are everywhere.
Everywhere. You could say the word to anybody and they would know exactly what they are.
But I remember years ago when we started this, that was the thing that nobody knew what they were.
No. They didn't. They really they didn't gain popularity. Internet obviously, and everything with websites, the social media, it was able to really put the actual, with the Labradoodle and with many things out there for people to be able to find and research and study and see photos and just technology, so it's been amazing.
And you have now, I mean, you do standard Labradoodles, you do medium, and then
Correct.
miniature?
Yes. Yep. Yes. For all the different sizes, through the different lineages, now being able, years later, we were able to get Australian Labradoodles into our bloodline. And that's where the miniature sizes came in.
Really?
So, yep, the Australian Labradoodle actually was bred with Spaniel in Australia. So it was Lab, Poodle, and Spaniel. And the Spaniel actually gave us the ability to downsize through the generations. So now we have miniatures. So, yeah. So much to learn.
Don't know.
Which are the most popular?
It's always different at every different time.
It changes.
It is. It's funny how certain seasons all the families want larger. And then it'll go through, and then we get a lot of retired families, and they all seem to want smaller. So people's concept of a big dog is family friendly. And then people, as they get older, they look at the responsibility part, and then the smaller ones fit. But, I mean, we still get a lot of families that do the smaller, just for the ability of grooming, ease of travel, all those kind of accommodations for families.
Right.
So that's my wonderful story.
The name, I don't know if we said Just to Walk Home Kennels.
Yeah.
What is it like now? How many kennels do you have? How many dogs are you?
Back in the day when we first started the website with Angie and you, Pat, kennel was actually what any breeder called themselves. So it was considered the actual wording for anybody who breeds and raises dogs. The wording now is really changed. It doesn't really identify us as what we're doing as much, because the word kennel can be boarding kennel, breeding kennel. So a lot of breeders have really moved past the word kennel. So we're not a kennel in the sense anymore, and we never were. It was just the identifying word that people started with. So a lot of our dogs actually live in guardian homes. They don't live on property. So it actually physically makes it nicer for the dog that comes here to have their puppies to not be in our actual living environment.
Right.
They have their own home. They have their own family. Correct. So the word kennel we've really moved past it as a breeder, and it still fits because that's who we are. I mean, I've always been Just a Walk Home Kennel, but ultimately the lifestyle for the animals, it's in a family, it's in a home, and then they come here and have puppies only once a year. Some have twice a year, but that's max. That dogs can only have 2 litters a year. So there's no truth behind what they talk about as animals having litters upon litters upon litters. Nature does not allow that.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Different. It is.
And good to know that, I'm sure I didn't know that you didn't have the dogs there all the time. I guess I just didn't think about that. And I bet a lot of people are like that. And for them to hear that and to know that this is the way that you do it, that the mothers and the fathers are actually, part of a family.
Somebody's pet.
And someone's pet.
Pet, yes.
Because I think the stigma
there is a negative side to
there
some.
Is. And that's what's hard, because like I said, the word kennel in people's mind assume they just have a different image. But we use the kennel name because that's what was preferred at the time when we started.
Yeah.
So, but things have changed. We call them guardianships. So the guardians actually get the their puppy younger. They raise it. They take care of it. It's their dog. I always tease because it's like we're just we just board them. They go on vacation and we have their dog and they have their puppies for a few weeks and they go back home. So it makes it nice.
That is nice. How many of them actually end up with one of the puppies from their
their
female or male?
Yeah, a lot of our families, as their dog ages, that's kind of what's nice for them. They'll do a second because their dog is, retiring from our breeding program. So they'll do a second puppy or a second doodle for the next and up and coming. And I think they enjoy it because they like to see, I think it's in our human nature to see what can be produced. I mean, that's why we have children. We have children because we want to see. We love, the person we're with. We want to see what they become and all the good stories. And people really enjoy it. It's definitely, it adds to their life because they're doing things for other families, just how I feel when I make a litter of puppies. Those puppies are going to be something special to somebody and change their life. And those are the stories we all love to hear and make a difference.
We would have a house full of puppies.
They're great dogs. They are. I would say out of the many breeds that are available to people, the Labradoodle itself fits most families. It's a very easy train, very smart dog. You have the maintenance because of the non-shed. Of course, you're seeing a groomer, but ultimately, as a pet in your home, it's just a very nice,
we're
nice
on our
dog.
third.
Yeah,
Third.
we had Slappy Buddy and
Slapshot Joseph.
Yeah.
Slappy Joe.
Slappy
But
Joe.
yeah, and they're all different. They've all been different colors, different sizes, and different demeanors.
Yeah. A little bit different. And that's what makes it really nice with the Labradoodle. Each one does have a little bit of its own characteristic, but ultimately the family that raises them, they are able to adapt and become part of their family to where we look at it like this with people with special needs children or, young adult that live in their home, their family already exists a certain way. It can't change, especially with special needs, because that's what the situation is. So the Labradoodle is able to come into that family and be part without that family having to change their whole schedule, their whole life, exercise the dog, take it for 20 walks. It just can come in and adapt. And that's what the basis of why the Labradoodle was started, was to be a companion therapy dog. And
do you find
to adapt.
Do you find that you're selling to a lot of those people?
Yes, that's one of our main. It's my drive in my life is to make sure, and that's why I started. Was the thought that this dog of Labradoodle would fit into therapy situations, special needs families. That's why they were made. That's why they were being brought over from Australia. But the cost could be easily to obtain your own for your own situation of therapy. Yep. So that made it more accessible to all those families.
Nice. Very nice.
So how's it going now? How's the popularity? Are they still everywhere?
I think it is. I mean, it's funny because I felt like over COVID, because travel was so limited, people's movement was limited. The Labradoodle became popular in Ohio just the last couple years. So most of our puppies went to every other state through nanny services. Yeah. So through COVID, everything was pickup.
Well, that's good for you.
It was nice. It was nice because I got to interact more one-on-one with my families than just, through the phone or, conversations through, texting. It was really nice to see people have something to enjoy, love, get them through the really rough part of what COVID did to every family. So
yeah,
it was definitely, it put a different, just a different part of life into my life. So, and that's
nothing can put a smile on your face like a puppy. So I'm sure they were happy to pick them up.
They were ecstatic. They were, in the beginning of COVID, everybody was all nervous, and we had to do, come in to conform for COVID situations. One family at a time, mask, all that fun stuff. But we made it. Everybody made it. We got through, and here we are.
So when, there are so many doodles out there. There's the Labradoodle. There's what do your mom and dad have? They've got the
Snickerdoodles. All those are the cookies.
Funny. There's
doodle everything.
There are doodle everything.
Yes.
What makes the Labradoodle better? I mean,
hands down. I mean, there's a million reasons, but I mean, the biggest reason I would say is Labradoodles have been around for almost 40 years. The concept,
really?
It's been 42 years actually. I just looked it up a few days ago.
Did not know.
Yes, I know. I was like, okay, I've been doing this for almost probably 20 years. How long? When were they actually thought of and made? And actually the concept came up that long ago, 42 years ago in Australia. So actually with the years that they've been made compared to the years that all the new ones have been made, you just don't have the knowledge of what you're producing when you get into all the offshoots of the doodle. Mm-hmm. So you have breeders who do the Bernedoodle, the Sheepadoodle. I've seen like an golden Irish doodle. Yeah. Well, the golden doodle actually was close. Mm-hmm. It was very close to the Labradoodle, I would say within maybe 25 years, the golden doodle. I wouldn't know that one exact, but it's pretty, it's closer than a lot of the other ones. The golden doodle problem, they're a nice dog. Golden retrievers are actually very popular dogs. The problem they ran into with the golden doodle was the golden retriever part. Yeah. And like many AKC breeds, every AKC breed has its issues. Whether it's bad hips, whether it's this or eyesight or elbows, the golden retriever has high rates of cancer. And the problem they die very young. So when they mix the golden retriever with the poodle, they're still ending up with a lot of cancer. A lot of golden doodles die very young, 7, 8, 9. And that's not long enough. That's not long enough when you have an animal that has been trained for therapy, tons of money put into that animal. Yeah. You can't have them pass away. Special needs people are not able to adapt to change. They need consistency.
I did not even think about that. Now how old was Buddy? Buddy
8.
Buddy was older than 8?
12, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say he was about 12, yeah.
Is that about normal then for the Labradoodle?
Slappy was
12
8.
to 15.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 12.
Because it was something strange.
We're debating on when
it's okay. Time goes by so fast. Trust me.
And it's a terrible time.
I know.
They are wonderful.
So 12 to 15 is the average, that's the whole thing. They're not going to last forever. We unfortunately have to wrap our minds around that. But if we can do anything to do the best we can, to get them to stay as long as we can, that's what we try. So
what can you give us like one of your favorite stories?
Oh my goodness, a favorite story.
Or a favorite family that's come by and
there's so many.
I bet.
You can give us a couple.
We can start. This is a cute one. Just because names are always really important to me, special. I love to hear what people come up with because, it just kind of gives me a whole feel of who they are, what their family is. So we had a family that had gotten their first Labradoodle from us, and it was a long time ago. It was actually an F1, so it was an early generation. I know. And her name was Kanga, and I love the name. I just thought it was different, And they came back for their second one, and lo and behold, they were as sweet can be and the funniest family. They named the second one Rue. So I said to them, I said, that's so cute. I love it. And they're like, well, when we call them and our neighbors here, we can just say kangaroo, kangaroo, kangaroo.
That is perfect.
That was a cute one. I love that one. Let's see. Another family that impacted me. Actually, they had three children. They were triplets, a husband and wife. Very, very nice family, and they had triplets. And they had a son, a daughter, and then another son. The triplets, and the one son was. I don't know if it was a birth defect. I don't know if it was. I'm not quite sure, but he's in a wheelchair. But the other two children were what we call, normal in the sense. Mm-hmm. And they had come by to buy a miniature for their son that was in a wheelchair. And they were just the sweetest couple. And I remember them sitting there, and they were so excited. And they picked out a little black female miniature, I remember. And I looked at them, and they went to pay. And I said, no, I don't. I want to gift this to your family. I love your story. I love, there's going to be something. And I can't remember exactly, but I know we had talked and talked about how hard it is to have children that are, you have your normal ones that do everything, and then you have one that's not, and he needed something special. And I was just so happy to bless them with that as a special gift, and I love to see people's faces, and I don't do it for any special reason,
Right.
just they're special,
Yep.
and we all can understand people's hardships in life. Mm-hmm. And especially when it's children, how can you not be sensitive, That's what makes it nice that I'm able to do that for families. I can't give you $1 million. I can't fix handicap situations, but I can make them better.
Yep.
That's all I can do. If I can just help, if somebody's just to help.
That's awesome.
So, I know.
No wonder I love you so much.
But the business, it's still, everybody always sees all the fun parts, and we do talk about all the fun parts, and reality is still, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I try to treat every family as part of my family.
Yeah, you do a great job of that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I really make sure that puppy is what they want or need. Because sometimes people's wants differ from what maybe they need. Mm-hmm. And I got to give my family so much credit. They trust me. They listen to me. They realize that I have the judgment to be able to guide them, into what's going to be the best fit. Sometimes people get enchanted with the color, and our colors are amazing. We get such unusual, the blue eyes. Oh my goodness, that makes me melt. I look at them and I want to keep them all. I love them, and people do. They get enchanted with that, and sometimes I have to say, but we know you really like that color. But I've listened to your whole family situation and your story, and I've taken the time to digest it. And this puppy really is going to fit the best. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes male or female. People come in and they're like, we want a male or we want a female. And I say, well, okay, let's look at both situations. This one may work out. Maybe you need a little boy puppy, first. And then as your kids grow, maybe a female is going to work, good as a second dog. So it really is about just taking the time, listening, and putting it all together to find the right fit.
Well, you've been doing it long enough. You are an expert in your field, and you're used to seeing those puppies.
I learn every day. You never stop learning, and that's the biggest thing with any business that you have. You have to learn. You have to be open to other people's ideals, experiences. You can't just think you know what you're doing and just do it. You have to be open. You have to get guidance from other people who have that information, whether it's like you've guided me multiple times through, my marketing, through everything, with the website. I can do the fun stuff. I can raise the cute puppies.
Yeah.
I can do all that, but I need other people's help because I am not all parts of my business.
And as you know, we learn all the time. I mean, you might talk a little bit about Facebook. There are, you think that, well, number one, you throw a picture of a puppy on Facebook and you get tons of people liking it.
Oh, yeah.
But you're not really allowed. They won't let you advertise it. That's a struggle.
That's been a big struggle. And it's hard because I feel like I'm doing a service just like anybody else's service, whether you're a car repair, any business that you have, that's why you do it. You're giving a service. And I don't understand why they identify animals as such a different service than any other service. And they've really blackballed us, and they've made it hard, and they hurt people because I'm trying to make a living just like everybody else. An honest one, a hard one. I mean, this is not an easy business. It's a 24/7. You can't close shop and just go away or take a vacation. I work really hard, and Facebook has really put a black smudge on breeders.
Yeah. And it's animals, because we've had a farm that bred boars.
Yeah.
Big pigs for shows. And we were running, and that's why, I've told you, be careful, because we were running an ad for him, and we were doing like a giveaway of their hats, their t-shirts, and they had a big following just like you. And it went like gangbusters. They had thousands of people every day signing up for this giveaway, and Facebook shut it down because they were promoting the sale of an animal. And,
a part of an animal.
It was for the breeder. It was the semen is what it was. And it was frozen, and they would ship it. That was it.
Yeah.
And
it didn't
Facebook
hurt anybody. It helped people.
That's the way they make new pigs.
Yeah, I know.
And
if you like your bacon or
and they shut down his ad, and they shut down his web page or his Facebook page and his accounts. I think he ended up getting that back, but he's not allowed to advertise. And, a lot of people, they'll just shut your page down, and that's it. You'll never get it back.
And you don't have any voice either. That's what I don't like. It's not fair, because it's like, okay, why don't you warn me or go about it in a way that I can change? Right. I'm open to change. I will accommodate your rules. I'm not against that. That's their rules. I can play within that structure. But at least give me the opportunity to make it right or fix what you don't like.
And in most cases, they won't even tell you what you did wrong. They don't. You broke community standards. You're done. And that's the end of the story.
Well, it goes along with, it goes back to what we teach, what we've always taught, and are trying to teach more and more people now these days, since we're doing a lot more marketing, is your website has got to be your hub. Your website has got to be where
Don't count on Facebook,
push people. Right now it may be Facebook and Instagram and things like that, but it can change. In the next year, it could be something totally different. But if you have that website and you have that hub, then you should be okay. You should be
and
be just
people
fine.
Can find you and remember you, and you can get lost so easy on Facebook because, like you said, one time they take you down and you're gone. That's it. There's nothing to fall back on.
And it's happened. Another story I've told before is we had a client that sold gun safes.
Okay.
You lock your gun in it, and he was shut down because it had gun.
Really?
It was crazy.
And we were very careful because I knew that was going to be a slippery slope with Facebook.
Right.
And I'm sure all this goes back to some lawyer somewhere that told him, don't allow that. And, some of that maybe you can understand. But this was a safe to keep guns out of the hands of kids, for one thing.
Exactly.
No pictures of it. We didn't. We said safes. We didn't say gun safes. And either somebody reported it but they shut him down, shut his ad account down. And he did get back, and he was allowed to do it because because it literally said and that was one of those things. They just said, you broke the rules, you're done, you're turned off.
Right.
And as we started digging in, the rule said that things like that you were allowed, holsters.
Okay,
And so
right.
it literally said that you could do this, but they shut him down anyway. So
he ended up getting it back.
But like you said, you can't call anybody. You can't send an email.
Yeah.
You got to try to find a chat, and it's impossible to find. And it's just, and like we said, you can't let that be your only spot that you're doing business online, because you can't guarantee it'll be here tomorrow.
No.
So how do you get yours now, Bree? What are the ways that you get?
Well, using, keeping
customers?
everything up to date on my website, with the optimizing that you guys are able to offer through your, I don't know I call it a host. Would you call it a host for optimizing? So you host my website.
We host it, and we've done lots of search engine optimization trying to get it on, and it changes every day too. And that's the same thing we tell, it's up and down,
you have to keep up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you ship all over the country.
Yes, we ship all over. So that also brings, into your guys' situation, being able to reach not just within my own area, keeping it optimized to where it's, findable or searchable for other people in other states. You can't limit your market, because obviously your state has, there's other breeders in my state, obviously, and that's how, other business owners would have it. You're not the only one. So you want to be able to, go outside your own state and provide that service.
Well,
so optimizing.
Yeah, and that's cool, because we talk about how much of a pain in the butt it can be and how much control they have. But 20 years ago, somebody in California wasn't going to find you.
No,
and now they can.
Not at all. Yeah, it's way different. Every day it grows. It changes. I mean, with the website, the biggest things are just keeping it up to date. That's a big thing. I think in my situation as for Labradoodles, you go to a lot of people's websites, they haven't updated it. They don't call people back. So I know, and I commented on your callback service, Angie. I love that. That's so nice, because I get busy. I can't always answer the phone. The automatic, at least somebody sees that you did see that they called, and they get that text back. And that's nice, because then you can follow up a second time, when you're not busy, and see that, okay, somebody called, I can text them and
keeps
try
the
to
conversation going.
It does. And at least they don't feel like they haven't been answered. And sometimes we just get busy, and it's hard, you're like looking through your phone, and it's like, oh, I missed this call, or a voicemail that came in 3 days ago. It's like, okay, it's been 3 days, or something that it's just easy to miss. So I did like that service of yours when you offered that. That was pretty nice.
So it looks like that's something we need to talk to Bree about. Getting her Labradoodles on.
Does your phone ring off the hook with calls and texts? Because I know that's a popular service you have.
It is. Texting is a big way that most people are able to easily, communicate fast. That's amazing for me. Once people started texting, it made my life so much easier. I can send them a photo, send them a video, it's 2 seconds, but I really like the auto part of your system, because I can't be that fast. This, automated system is much faster than me. 5 minutes, 10 minutes later going, hi, sorry, I missed your call, or, hey, here's my information. Yeah. It just makes it nice. It gets people the information is when they want it, because obviously when they're texting or they're calling, they want information.
Right.
So any information I could get them that fast would benefit in any business. You're kind of already getting, you're reaching out, you're touching base, at least, you can follow up. So I like
follow up is crucial.
Yep.
Follow up is big. Definitely big.
Customers like that. They want to know that they're important, that they're not just, when you're ready or you're able or you're not busy. They want to know that they're taken care of.
And that's funny, because, I agree 100%. And that's what we tell people all the time. They contacted you They want the information. And we have, like, no kidding, all the time, people saying, I don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
I don't want to call them, too many times, or I don't want to contact them too many times.
That's
true. They asked for it. They want the information. And it always takes more than one contact to make a sale, almost always.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
So, they'll tell you to stop.
Yes, I know. Yeah. And I'm not a very pushy person, because with animals, it differs from maybe merchandise or a shirt or something like that. With animals, I'm very delicate, because I get back with them, and then sometimes they're not ready, or they're looking at a different time, maybe summertime versus wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to stay into how many times do you contact them, or how much. You don't want them to feel pressured, because a puppy should not be just an instant gratification type purchase.
Right.
It comes with a lot of responsibility. It's not a shirt you can just,
Right.
I don't like it, I'll leave it in the closet. This is a puppy. So I have to be very sensitive to people when they're ready. So that does lead into, I've often thought about with like more of the group emails or group texting, to where, I could reach back out in a subtle way.
Yeah. Just a reminder.
To those families. Just a reminder, like, hey, updated the website. There's all new photos.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be.
That's exactly what we say. We're not pushy. This is what we have when you're ready for it. But here's some information. Hey, maybe you didn't know this. There's some more information.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a way to stay in front of them. Just remind them that you're there, and when they're ready, they reach back out.
Yeah.
The cold, hard sales pitch nobody likes. You're not selling a used car.
Exactly. And the thing with the Labradoodles is, if you've already talked with them, so you've done the work, you've reached out, you've communicated, you've had phone calls, and maybe they're not ready, maybe they're looking futuristically, but it's so easy. You've already put in all that work. Why not reach out months later to kind of get that communication back going?
Right.
Maybe they'll start thinking about when they would be ready. Maybe they have a better timeline. Maybe they know what their summer looks like, or vacations, or, so it would be nice to reach back out and get some of that communication.
Big question is how do you keep track of that?
Yeah, right now.
Well, my phone.
Just in your brain?
Yeah, in my brain. Sometimes it works pretty good. As it gets older, it's less.
It starts to get full, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me right now, I just try to label everybody in my texting.
Mm-hmm.
Email just doesn't seem like we just don't do a lot of emails anymore. I don't know if people don't. I'm not quite sure. It used to all be email. Now it's definitely texting.
It still works. Texting's definitely better.
Yeah. So labeling, I do a lot of labeling. So anybody who makes contact with me, I try to put in a little note, into my phone for my contacts. But still going through, it's hard. It is hard. I would say that's a hard one. Maybe it's part of my business. I don't know if it's every person's business. Every business has different structures. Mm-hmm. But I might, a good thought is I have seen on other websites about joining the mail, like where they mail you out.
Newsletter.
Yeah, newsletter. Something like that might be constructive, to work.
Yep.
It's just another channel. I mean, it's when you're trying to sell to somebody and try to get your name out, it's just one more way that they can be reminded of you. Until they're ready. Because you'll get a lot of people that will do that and just follow you for a while.
Right.
And if you are doing something with your puppies and, hey, we've got a new litter and check these out. And, that's a way to get those people that you've never talked to yet to stay informed. And that's what it's for. That's why people sign up for newsletters, is they want the news on you.
Right.
And when they're ready, then they're going to reach out.
Yeah. No, I do like that idea a lot. It makes it to where I'm not so hands-on.
Yeah.
But they still get the information. Because when you're a business owner, you're not looking for another job.
Right.
I know.
And and that is the one cool thing with the software that we have. And we try to teach the businesses that we have on it, the texting type of campaign, if they've opted in and they want more information from you, when you do, like, let's say you had a new litter come, you could send a mass text out just saying, hey, new litter, this is Bree. Right. My new litter's dropped. And that's all you have to put in this text. Right. And it goes out to everybody, and it's so easy, and it looks like it's just you texting them. So it's nice
because
cool.
People like to feel that you thought of them. And a lot of people, and I mean, you've always commented, thank you, Angie, about my cute little photos. I worked so hard.
You do so good with that.
So, sometimes it's like toddlers. I mean, you wrangle 20 toddlers to get
like herding puppies.
Photo. Nobody ever could have told me all the parts of business that it took to run one business.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, there's so many intricate parts and layers. And when you can have somebody at your fingertips like you guys, hey, this is what my business now needs. What do you got? That really is a strength because it's not something, I'm not good with technical. I mean, I muddle through it. I do my best. Sometimes I can get through it. And other times I'm like, okay, how do I do this? And then I have my kids, they're grown. Thank goodness they paid for college and have some abilities, but they're not always available. They don't want to help me, and we rely on our kids sometimes, but ultimately I'm always last on the list of, their help. So.
You know that.
No, we laugh all the time because, this podcast, it's about hearing the stories of small business owners. We always remind ourselves, don't sell what we got. Don't sell our software. Don't talk about our software. And it comes up every time. It could be any software. You don't have to buy ours, but it is cool that all can fit into one, but we try not to talk about it. And yet here we are selling again.
No, I don't look at it like that for you guys at all. I mean, because I've known you for so long. So I look at it as more of a friend saying to another friend, hey, what's your ideals? Because help is just, it's great. You need help sometimes. And I think business owners forget that you need to reach out and get help because you could try to sit there and figure it out. But the time you just wasted trying to figure something out that other people know is wasted time. You could have been doing something else.
Yeah.
And that's the real reason. We're just trying to help more people. We know we can't help everybody, but as you just said, small business owners don't want more jobs. And
we don't. I really don't.
This is something if we can wrangle them in and to stop worrying about all the latest and greatest things because most of them aren't that great. It's just a time suck. And
they do.
Your business is about making business or making money, selling whatever it is that you sell. Worry about that.
Yeah. And do what you're good at because I mean, I'm good at, if somebody comes here, more than likely we're going to sit down and, puppy's going to go home with that family. I have a good product. I have something that is what they're looking for. But ultimately, I'd rather be doing that than sitting on a computer because to me, that's more stress. It is stressful to me. So let somebody else who has the ability that it's easy for them, so I just don't always want those parts. And I have to remind myself that I rather either be able to take a little bit of time for myself, which is hard, or have more time with the animals that I love, because that's what I chose to do as my job, or a family that, helps in a situation that obviously every puppy has to have a home. So those are my three main, so if somebody else can get those buyers to come to me, I can finish that part. I just need the other, the research of the computer and the social media sometimes as helps.
So if somebody decided that they wanted to get into the business, what's something that you would tell them? Would you tell them to run?
Yeah, sometimes, it's Oh, that's a hard one.
Depends on the day, huh?
Yeah, it does. It is. The benefits to your life, I think the benefit, at least for mine, I couldn't imagine doing or being any other person ever. I mean, but I'm a person who takes responsibility very serious.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go into this business just, hoping you're going to make some money, have some cute puppies, because it's not all cute, fun, and games. Puppies poop. Puppies, are puppies. They do all those fun things, and it's okay when you have one puppy in your home, and okay, it's one little poop, is no big deal, which it isn't. But you have 14 of them that wake you up at 6 a.m. They have all pooped and now are all hungry.
Yeah.
And your eyes are not even awake, and you're like, okay. It changes the cuteness. So when people get into it, they see all the fun stuff, the easy stuff. Us seasoned breeders make it look like easy. I mean, because I can do it. I can wake up and take care of a couple litters of puppies and drink my coffee and go on with my day, to where somebody else they could never do that. That's just too much for maybe the average person. So I would say go in slow, really think about it. I mean, if you have the love and the passion, then where there's a will, there's a way. You'll do it. But for the average person, it's not something, that I would definitely be able to say full-heartedly that they should go in and have a whole bunch of cute puppies to play with.
Like maybe find a mentor first.
Mentor was, but she could help me logistically with some of my ideals, but you don't know what you got into until you do it.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's the big one. Until you're waking up to 14 puppies barking.
I can't even imagine. At least though they have their mom with them. So, that's a good thing. Yeah.
But mom only is, she's only there for a little bit. And she can't give everything that the human or the caretaker or the breeder has to offer. We have to offer a lot before those puppies are able to go home.
Right.
You got skills that you have to build, just like in a child. Socialization skills, mouthing, they want to mouth everything. We have to work with them. No, you can't do that. You have to act like this, And the responsibility of finding that right home for every puppy. That's a huge responsibility. When those puppies are born, I have to basically say to them, I am able to find you the perfect family that's going to love you and take care of you and treat you well. That's the responsibility. More than anything else, that's the responsibility, and that's big.
Yeah.
So people don't think.
Do you think it's time for the cards? Do you have anything else?
Nope. Let it happen.
Okay. I usually ask all our guests. I've got these cards. They are all different kinds of topics, and we usually ask one. Are you okay with that? Okay.
Yep.
You didn't do it last one.
I didn't. I forgot with Derek, didn't I? No, I didn't. Didn't I do it? Oh, I don't know. I can't remember.
We'll go back to the instant replay.
That's what happens when you are 50. When you're over 50, you forget.
Yes.
If money were no object, what kind of party would you throw?
What kind of party? Oh my gosh, I would throw a huge doodle romp party. A huge. Literally, because I think so many people have my dogs from so many states that I would just throw a huge doodle romp party and invite
much fun.
We're there.
Oh my God. It would be.
How many do you think you've sold?
Oh, that's a hard question. That's a lot. So let's make numbers round, because round's easier math.
Yeah.
So 20 years. Let's just say 20 years of breeding.
Yeah.
We probably have let's say, I mean, because every year is different. Let's just say 300 puppies a year, maybe.
Yeah.
So 300
Holy
times
crap.
20. So what's the math on that? You guys got
6,000.
something? So you got to carry the zeros.
$6,000.
That's a lot of people at your party.
That would be a big, huge party. That'd be a lot of puppies.
That would be so much fun.
I know. My people are like, you're like the godfather of doodles. I'm like, I kind of am.
You are. I mean, do you know how many other breeders were in the country when you started?
I think there was probably 10 to 15.
That's it.
Big ones. I say big ones in the sense they had a website
Knew about
that
them.
were well known, that had, lineage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
Not
Yeah,
very
you
many.
are.
I know.
So to all those people looking for doodles, where do they find you?
Well, they can find me all over. Well, we're getting better at Instagram, so I'm doing a little bit more Instagram.
Under Bree, under your name, or under Just Walk Home Kennels?
Just Walk Home Kennel. Bree Arnett. Let's see. So Facebook, Instagram, my website. That's the biggest. It's always kept up to date. Videos.
JustAWalkHomeKennel.net.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and .com. We're both.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
Got anything else? Got anything you want to ask us?
Do you have any litters that are available?
Available right now. It's probably some of the nicest ones I've had in a long time. Oh my gosh. Blue eyes everywhere.
Oh,
really blessed. So, I mean, to me at least. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I try to remind people that I have to keep this fun for myself. So I'm going to do what I think is beautiful. And, we always have every color to fit every family, but I like to feel like it's Christmas. Every litter's different colors, different sizes. So yeah, probably some of my prettiest. I'm excited.
How do you get the blue eyes?
Huh?
How do you get the blue eyes?
The blue eye, actually, oh my gosh.
Maybe it's a secret she's not allowed to tell.
Yeah, it's not really. I mean, it kind of worked itself into my program through a friend. She had a blue-eyed lab, just one blue eye. It was an AKC lab, so I had to start all over once again. So I had to start with the early generation to move forward. Sometimes that happens, so you have to go backwards a little bit to go forwards. So she had a lab that had a blue eye, and I said, I wonder if you bred that, if you would get blue eyes, nobody really knew. So, I mean, the blue eyes, how do they move, transition genetically? Right. It's just one of those things. We'll see. So she actually did. She had a litter, and 2 of the puppies had one blue eye. And I got a little boy from her. His name was Cupid. He was a little chocolate F1. So he wasn't perfectly beautiful like you see now with the big, huge coats and the non-shed. Yeah. We used them and moved them through our program, and kind of by luck. It really wasn't anything, known or researched. There was no true research. And just kept them and got blue eyes. So awesome. Through a lot of years. It just takes everything in the breeding business is not done in a day. It's not even done in a year. Yeah. It's 5 years or 8 years or, it's definitely just being consistent and sticking with it. So cool. Rome wasn't built in a day.
True.
I know. So.
Well, would you say that?
I think that covers a lot of Labradoodles.
Yes, it does. It definitely does.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out, and thank you for
I appreciate it.
18 years of business.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
I know.
And
it has been a long stretch.
Hopefully there's many, many more. Lots of Labradoodles, and soon we'll be talking about your new venture and maybe another one. So good luck with that.
That's the exciting one too. I know. I can't wait. Give me a couple more months and then I'll tell you.
We won't tell anybody about it, and I'm sure it'll be a success.
Yep.
I'm excited.
All right. We can be.
So that's
Thanks,
it.
Bree.
Bye. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to the Local Vibes Podcast, brought to you by localvibes.us, where we help small business owners like you build the ultimate system that generates more leads, phone calls, and most importantly, more customers. Join our community by going to localvibes.us and add your business to our directory. You'll also find live discussions, tips, podcasts, videos, and just plain real talk on how you too can be more successful online.